Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking with you about why your ex leaves your photos up.
It's to mess with you, isn't it?
Oh, man. It does mess with you because when somebody ends the relationship, you're kind of convinced that they're just going to forget about you. They're going to delete all photos and memories and they're moving on without looking back.
Right.
That doesn't really happen, does it?
Nope. I know during a breakup, we obsess about every detail, and social media is a way that we can have access in a small way to a profile of our ex or to like an avatar of our ex. And so sometimes we try to interpret meaning based on what they're doing on social media to feel connected, to feel like we're in the know. So sometimes we see their pictures still up and we're trying to understand why the heck are they still up if we're broken up and if they supposedly don't want a relationship with me. So that's what we're here to talk about in this video. The first thing to state is that for a lot of people, it's not easy for them to let go of those images either. You know, we were just having a conversation about how some people still have sentimental items from exes that they keep. They might have it like in a box or hidden away because, you know, those were experiences that they shared with someone. And so removing images even from a social media profile, which for some people, they kind of keep that as like a log or like a journal, if you will, of their own memories, experiences, pictures, so on and so forth. It can be difficult for them to remove those. It makes the breakup feel real.
Yeah. And it makes you just so torn about what's really happening with them, you know, because it's like, I don't understand. Does this mean, you know, they're ending things for good, or does this mean they're not letting go because these photos are still up, or they removed 5 of my photos, but they still have 5 up? That's another thing you see is they take some
selective
down
ones.
and some up, and you're like, they left this one up of us kissing.
Yeah.
Like, how does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of unusual, confusing behaviors in these kind of situations.
Yeah, the behaviors can be all over the place. And I know it's hard on your end because you're trying to interpret and make sense of it all. For others, they might be aware that the pictures are up and they want to take them down, but they're not wanting to do that right away because they realize that you might be watching and that it might affect you. So this is sometimes where you can see some of those odd behaviors where they're taking down some but not others, or they take it down kind of slowly and keep, you know, one up for a period of time and then take it down later. So that could be a reason for some of those strange behaviors there too.
Some people are nicer and more thoughtful than others.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And that could be their attempt at not having it be so shocking all at once. Another big one is, remember, we're talking about social media, so involving other people. This is public, and they might be concerned with what other people think or say, right? And that might be maybe because there is a part of them that's not 100% committed to the breakup yet. They're thinking, man, if we get back together, then I'm going to take these down and put them back up, and it's going to be a whole thing.
Very true.
Or it could be the other side of it, which is, I don't want to create drama. You know, I'm not ready to face the questions from my family or friends yet.
Very true, yeah.
I'm just now processing this breakup myself, and I don't want to make this more public.
And along with the photos, it could also be like your Facebook status.
That too.
Like, it's like, it says they don't want to take from in a relationship with Harry Henderson to, you know, to single all of a sudden. And then they get a million people pestering them and bothering them.
Yeah.
And then maybe even pursuing them.
Yeah.
Then they may not want that.
I just want to say Facebook is so messy for having it's complicated. You know what? Facebook, Mark, come on, let's talk about that. What's going on? But yeah, this is something that is social and public. And so because there's other eyes on it, there's an element of people are watching, and that can impact someone's behavior. So keep that in mind. The other part of this being social media and it being public, I know we talked about family and friends, but we don't live in a bubble. There are other potential suitors that are watching. There are other potential suitors, unwanted potential suitors that are watching too, right? Yeah. So they might not be ready to take down their photos, especially if they have a more public kind of profile, knowing that they may be approached, or other people might be lurking and paying attention to that, and they may be approached by others.
Yeah, and they don't want to deal with it.
Right.
They don't have the energy. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So that's, friends and family, but also other potential suitors. So that's another component to it.
So what do you do?
What do you do? So,
Panic?
No, you don't have to panic. You don't have to panic. I know we try to interpret the behaviors and we try to take meaning, and sometimes we're convinced, oh, if they take them down all of a sudden, now what, Victoria said about potential suitors, that means they're trying to welcome all of them. No. Let's try not to go down a rabbit hole of what their behaviors could mean and be so convinced of that, right? We don't 100% know.
And I just want to jump in. They, a lot of times, are very confused.
Oh, yeah.
So they can make a decision one day and then regret it instantly or the next day or a week later.
Right.
So they could be going through all these things within them.
Right. And we get this question a lot, which is why we wanted to address it and give you all of these different perspectives. But what you can do, the action item for you, is you can choose how much you engage with that. And this is kind of the reality of it, and the hard part of it is you can choose to mute their profile. You can choose, if you really need to remove them or block them. We advise not to if you're trying to repair, but depending, you know your own limits and what you can tolerate in terms of what you're exposed to from their social media.
Yeah, some of you guys really struggle with that. And
yeah.
I've said, and we'll talk about it, and I'll be like, well, in this particular situation, since you're struggling so much, you might really want to consider that, because you're hurting and you're looking all the time and you can't seem to turn that off. I had a client recently that was making themselves just go crazy about the whole situation. Night and day, they couldn't sleep, they losing weight, they were, making themselves sick, like physically.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, just remove these things from your phone. I said, if anything, why don't you just remove the apps from your phone? And that way it's a hassle to go on the computer and make yourself look logged. Don't keep yourself logged in.
Yeah.
Make yourself have to work for it a bit, so it's not as easy as just opening up your phone and click and then hit that search name, search for their name. Because in this day and age, for many of us, we have at least somewhat insight into what's going on with their life. And if we can't turn that off and have the emotional strength to stop looking, we got to look for ways, to do it.
Yeah.
It's like some people have to learn to quit a bad habit in different ways than other people. Some people can say, I'm going to stop the habit. Some people have to do a lot of work to stop the habit.
Exactly.
Exactly. So everybody's different.
So you want to protect yourself, because these habits, while we gave you some reasonings as to what might be going on their end, like we said in the beginning, there are some people who hold on to sentimental things and enter other relationships and, marry other people and continue their lives. And different people handle pictures on social media differently. There are people who are married, who enter different relationships, that prefer to keep those posts up there. Like I said, some people use their social media as a record keeping. Yes, it's public. Yes, it could, bother their next partner or whatever it might be, but those are conversations between couples. So just things to consider.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was going to talk about too is one thing that we often see is exes posting new photos with items that you gave them. And you're like, what? They just posted a picture with that necklace that I gave them, or that shirt that I bought them. And you it was for you. And everything inside of you is like, why are you posting the picture with that ring? It's so hard to be like, why are you posting that if we're not together? Don't you? But you can't fall for those little tricks and traps. Don't let them bait you.
Yeah.
All we're asking for you to do is to let them be the ones to reach out first.
And it comes off very micromanaging if you start to bring up, why did you take down this post or that post? Or why did you leave these up? So if you start to, acknowledge and tell them kind of what they should do with their social media profile, a lot of times you'll be met with anger. A lot of times you'll be met with frustration. So consider that, at this point, give them that space. They're going to do whatever they're going to do with those photos on their social media. We've given you some reasons, some perspectives here. Consider those, and most importantly, protect yourself.
And every situation is so different. And we say that all the time because it's so true. And so even though we've given you a lot of the reasons when we're going over a breakup with you on a coaching call, we're going to see the nuances of their behaviors and how things have gone, and look at all the factors of the relationship and the breakup and all those things. And we can give you a more clear picture as to why it's happening in your situation.
Exactly.
So hopefully this one was helpful for you. And if you'd like to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.